What's going on, guys? Coach Joe here, making a quick video to talk about what happens when I send you over a new client and kind of looking a little bit deeper into how to get a client going on the Fitbot. So we're going to look into our demo, Mr. Anderson. So when you guys get a new client, whether I pass them off to you or it's one that you have started up, the first thing I always do is I always pop in and just double check their profile information here. Ensure that their first, last name, all that good stuff, their email, their location. Right now, Mr. Anderson, I should say, is located on the moon. What type they are, whether they're straight remote, maybe you do live sessions, but also program stuff for them to do in between those sessions. You put them as dual. If they were just strictly in person, then that's the one that you would highlight. I do use this platform for my live in-person clients. Most of the time they're going to be dual, but I do have a couple, honestly, that will not do any work outside of our sessions. So I pick and choose my battles, and I just put them as in person. I program everything for them in here and there. They don't get an email, they don't get access to the profile or anything like that. So anyway, just continuing on, making sure everything here is correct. The workout delivery, this is how I usually have it set. This way, I used to have it weekly on Sundays, but let's say you for whatever reason get backed up and you can't program everything out by Sunday, this can become an issue. So what I have it do is email them daily, email them if they miss the workouts. This hide from feed, this would be a scenario if you had like a bulk program that was mass produced essentially, and you don't want to, maybe you're doing a challenge or whatnot, something like that, and you don't want to see them checking in all the time. This is what you would have it. You would have it highlighted there, hide from feed. But most of your clients aren't going to be that, so you're going to want to make sure that's turned off so you can see the results on your dashboard and get notifications from it. The default work visibility should be set at just at a week at a time, but if you wanted to control that, you could always pop into here and adjust how often or how far in advance, I should say, they can see their program. The way I usually have it is only let them see the current week, but that is the default, so, or it should be the default. So after we've double checked all of that, now we're into their workout page here. There's a couple of things before we start programming out. On this side here, pop into here, plug in whatever their goals are. If you're getting them from me, generally they're gonna have some goals already put in here, but your job as a coach is to double check with that, confirm that, maybe even dig a little deeper, maybe even get some more concrete verbiage. Generally, when I talk to them, it's going to be very abstract and not very concrete. So get some good goals set for your client, Mr. Anderson. He wants to be able to dodge bullets, and he wants to fly. So we got those two goals into there, and you can put anything in here. They are going to be able to see it. I'll kind of show you what it looks like from their end in case you've never seen it. They are going to see what this looks like, so always be mindful of that. But put in their goals there, put save. We'll go over to the assessment. Now this is a beginner client here, so I always start them off with body weight. We do caliper pinches, and then we'll do circumference measurements. Okay, so all those will be plugged into there. Benchmarks, this is just, I mean, this becomes super easy. Hit benchmark set. Before we can dodge bullets, we got to make sure we have a strong core, so I'm going to start with core stability test. If I wanted to do something else, we have some other ones in here. In another video, I'll show you how you can create your own. Limitations, it'll tell you if it's only visible to you, so that's always a good thing. If you want to put in here any limitations that they have, when I do my consultation and I pass them off to you, you will have limitations already set in there. But of course, you as a coach want to take a little deeper look and make sure that you are fully aware of their limitations. Notes and files will also be something that's just visible to you. The first note I want you to actually add in there is going to be their waiver and release form, as well as their first agreement form. All of that will be emailed to you. All you have to do is just plug it in here as an attachment. Okay. Planning. This is a really cool feature. I love this. So let's call this one breaking the code. A general start to saving the world. Okay. So hit the start date. Let's say I want him to start on the Monday. It's going to go all the way to the end of February. What you can do here, this is really neat, is you can put in, let's say I want to do Metcon work there, and he's a beginner, so we're going to do rest, and then full body strength, and then a rest, and then core conditioning, and then a rest, and then a rest. So we'll hit create here, and I'll show you what this does over here in just a second. The equipment, it's going to be general, like I said, if you're getting it from me, so make sure that you touch base, and you even can check in and see what kind of equipment they are excited to use or like to use more of. That's always good to plug in here so you can reference that whenever you are working into their calendar. So we did the planning here, breaking the code, and you'll look over the calendar. What it's done is it's mapped out for me these days here. So the 15th we start off with a nice little Metcon, then we rest, full body strength. So you can see it's all written up here, so it reminds me as I'm programming out for them. Now once I'm ready to write a workout, I mean, it's just super simple. You start typing stuff in their warm-up. If you've already created some warm-ups, you'll have them in there. An easy way to do that would be, oh my goodness, this is a long one. Would be to kind of start typing something. So once we're ready to create workouts, it's super easy. We'll press in there. You type out your title. It's optional, but sometimes I just like to put the date. You add in a warm-up, let's say 5 minutes, jogging, and then let's just plug in some random stuff. 10-inch worm, lizard lunges. Let's just say we just want to do that, just for the sake of this video not being too long. A couple things I want to do here is I want to add in the video, so inchworm lizard lunges, start typing it, auto populates, plug it in. The other thing I want to do is I want to save this, so I'm going to hit this little flag over here. I'm going to save it as Mr. Anderson warm up. Save it. So now it's saved in there. So now when I'm going over here, and it's the same warm up for Mr. Anderson, I can start plugging Mr. Anderson and it'll auto-populate. Boom, there it is. There's your warm-up. So it's the same warm-up for Mr. Anderson all the way through. This way it's just consistent. It's the way I program. If you like to write out different warm-ups every day, by all means have at it, but I find that to be really easy and effective. The exercise here, this is really cool. You just start typing and it'll auto-populate all the different options as you start typing. So it's quite an array, quite a list of movements we have. So these are per exercises. So let's say this is a typical one for me. I do kettlebell, 2-hand swings. I do kind of a 5 by 20. Now there's a lot of shorthand key buttons you can push. If you want to learn those, they're just over here. You can navigate the calendar with arrows. I'm not going to read them all to you, but look through this. As soon as you own this more, the easier it'll become, and the faster you can program and write out workouts wicked fast. So I'm going to use some of the shorthand here. So we're going to go into some kettlebell goblet squats. And we're going to do 5 by 10, and we're going to rest for 30 seconds. So this is kind of the way I write my workouts out. You have full autonomy on how you write your workouts. Just make sure it makes sense to your client. And then I'm going to set these as, I'm going to link these up together. So the way I do that is see this little link here. You've also got, of course, the quick reference button over here to link them together. You superset. It's right down here. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to create a circuit. Now a circuit is going to be like let's do kettlebell burpee hell 2.0 would be a circuit. So we're going to set a timer and complete. It's 10 rounds of 20 two-hand swings. And then 2, 4, 4, 6, 8, 10, boom, 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 all the way to 20 burpees. So there's a circuit there. That's different than a superset. In a circuit, you have multiple moves in there, and then obviously their time in there. So if you think about CrossFit, if we will, Fran or something like that would go in as a circuit. The other thing I want to do is I want to make sure they remember what a two-hand swing is. And they remember what I mean by a burpee. And there you have it. So then the cool down, you could do the same thing. Cool down. Carmen's written out a cool down here that we could use if need be. But you know, write out a cool down flow, and you know whatever you'd like to have them do. And you can do the same thing essentially as your warm up. You could save it into your library so you could always reference back into it. Good programming. We'll always have the same warm up and the same cool down. I say always, it is general. So keep that in mind. You want to keep some consistent, I think, with the warm up and cool down from my point of view, at least. So take it with a grain of salt. And then when you're ready, of course, you'll save it. And you move on to the next one. It's a rest day, so no worries here. We're actually going to cancel that, and we're going to turn it into a rest day. Boom. There you go. Recover. So then you progress through, you write out your workouts. Now here's a cool thing. Let's say I've written out all these workouts. I can highlight this whole entire week, copy, paste it down here. That doesn't mean that I'll necessarily keep the workouts exactly the same. I will go in and I will adjust some certain variables in order to keep the progression going. But it's pretty easy, pretty quick to just copy and paste it to the next week. Make your adjustments as you go along, and then you can create 6-week, 8-week, 12-week program within 30 minutes just by doing that, making minor adjustments week by week. So that pretty much does it for the scope of this video here. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you guys have any other questions on anything, but that should break down quite a bit of the different stuff that you can do with a brand new client and some of the stuff that you need to check on with a new client too. So thanks for watching, guys.